Okay, let's dive right into this explainer, where we're going to explore how the absolute smallest creatures out there actually offer some of the biggest organizational insights. Today, we are looking at this incredibly fascinating intersection between biology and business management, and we're going to discover how the natural world has, quite literally, already solved our most complex corporate challenges.
So we're jumping straight into a pretty wild question. How on earth could insect behavior possibly transform our modern corporate strategies? I mean, first glance, the gap between a forest floor and a high-powered boardroom seems completely insurmountable, right? But when we actually take the time to observe these tiny little engineers, we realize they operate highly efficient, incredibly adaptable organizations that survive and thrive in environments that are way more volatile than the modern market. Futurist and author James Cassio really hit the nail on the head when he noted that mere survival just isn't enough. The true goal of resilience is to thrive. And to thrive in times of crisis, well, no creature embodies adapting to the unexpected quite like the ant. Think about it. When an ant encounters a blocked path, they don't waste precious energy just banging their heads against a wall. Instead, they find a totally new route. They adjust as a collective, and they learn, ensuring that the most efficient alternative becomes the new standard.
All right, Section 1. The Humble Ant's Resume. Soft Skills. The direct parallels here are honestly brilliant. When we talk about creativity and adaptability, ants are natural-born problem solvers. During floods, some ants literally lock their own bodies together to build living rafts. They protect the colony and just float to safety. That is pure creativity born out of absolute necessity. And then there's persuasion. Did you know ants actually experience peer pressure? They can convince and motivate their fellow ants to change direction or follow specific paths. Finally, workplace communication. While we're out here relying on endless emails and meetings, ants are using this highly advanced system of pheromones, touch, and low-frequency sounds. A trapped worker ant can literally alert others to free it from a collapsed burrow just by communicating effectively.
Now, here's a fact that is absolutely mind-blowing. We have biological proof that collaboration isn't just some fluffy corporate buzzword. It is a literal life-or-death survival tactic. Science actually shows that lonely ants live measurably shorter lives. They only thrive when they are working together. It is the ultimate proof that there's no I in team, right? True collaboration allows a completely diverse skill set to emerge, which ultimately makes both the individual and the whole organization so much stronger.
Moving on to Section 2, Colony Resilience, Adapting to Change. When you really observe ants, it reveals 3 crystal-clear steps for organizational resilience. First up, purpose. Every single ant knows its mission is the survival of the colony, which empowers them to make really swift, autonomous decisions. Second, inviting all voices. When an obstacle hits, they don't just sit around waiting for orders from the queen. Every ant pitches in, relying on completely diverse perspectives to find a bypass. And third, experience. Once a new path is cleared, they share that learning collectively. That way, they never hit that same roadblock twice.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that we need to experiment with small, manageable shifts rather than forcing these massive, repetitive resolutions that honestly just waste organizational energy. I mean, how many times have we seen huge corporate transformations just totally fade out because they tried to change everything all at once? Or even in our personal lives, right? Committing to read 100 books a year only to totally give up by February? The ant colony teaches us that true resilience is found in adjusting the path. It's about committing to reading just 10 pages a day, or running small organizational experiments, so you maintain your energy and incrementally get closer to the solution.
Which brings us to Section 3. What is biomimetic leadership? Nature as a mentor.
Now, organizational biomimicry goes way, way beyond cute animal metaphors. It's an entire worldview where leaders use nature as a model, a measure, and a mentor. Basically, it's a scientific discipline that takes the actual behaviors and properties of biological systems and adapts them to human organizations. A true biomimetic leader recognizes that their organization is an integral part of nature itself, and they maintain a continuous R&D system based entirely on learning from the Earth's vital mechanisms.
And listen, this isn't just some fringe, abstract idea. The academic literature is rigorously analyzing these concepts, confirming that biomimetic leaders are absolutely essential for generating commitment and fostering active learning. This is being actively studied in peer-reviewed journals like Biomimetics. Researchers have actually determined that for a complex business model to survive, it urgently requires leaders who can make dynamic decisions, resolve conflicts, and guide their teams simply by observing how successful biological ecosystems operate.
Next up, Section 4. The Mature Business Ecosystem,
Surviving long-term.
Researcher Janine Benyus outlines these 10 key elements, making a fantastic point that a mature business must operate just like a natural cyclical ecosystem. Think about how perfectly balanced a natural cycle is, like fungi breaking down matter to feed a plant, which in turn sustains an ant colony. Organisms cooperate, they run on information, and they optimize instead of just blindly maximizing. If a business adopts this cyclical flow, using waste as a resource and valuing long-term stability over short-term exhaustion, it becomes virtually unshakable.
Let's look at Section 5, Traits of a Natural Leader, Everyday Personality.
So, how do these grand ecosystem principles translate into your everyday personality? Well, we can look at transactional analysis, which maps out our personality. The parent state holds our internalized ethics and honesty. The adult state manages data and experience, giving us resilience. But surprisingly, the emotionally driven child state is just as vital. This is the exact space where a biomimetic leader actually taps into their creativity, their aesthetics, and their sense of humor.
Get ready for this. You might be completely shocked to learn that 99% of our decisions, even for Nobel Prize-winning economists, are actually based on emotional algorithms like feelings and desires. We really love to think of ourselves as these purely rational beings operating strictly from that adult state of cold, hard analysis. But researchers note that almost all of our choices, from our careers to our partners, are driven by refined emotional algorithms. Therefore, a leader who ignores the emotional, feeling-driven child state is literally ignoring 99% of what actually drives human behavior.
Which leads us to a really counterintuitive edge, a sense of aesthetics and a sense of humor. These aren't your typical corporate buzzwords, but they are powerful tools for regulating emotion and expanding our horizons. A sense of aesthetics actually transforms reality. Simply enjoying a beautiful landscape acts as a powerful sedative for the spirit. It helps a leader expand their viewpoints and deeply connect with the environment they're trying to protect. Meanwhile, a sense of humor is this incredible mechanism for emotional regulation. It fosters acceptance, it's a total antidote to boredom, and it massively accelerates productivity. When a leader uses humor, employees feel safe to just be themselves and pour their full energy into their work.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to apply to your own ecosystem. Nature has literally been running continuous research and development for billions of years. So, what new resilient path are you going to forge the next time you hit a roadblock? Whether it's finding the pure creativity of an ant building a raft, communicating better with your colony, or just using humor to lead a bit more naturally, your blueprint is waiting for you right outside your door. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you never look at a tiny ant the same way again.